A former assistant chief for the Portland Police Bureau is now weighing in on friendly text messages between a PPB lieutenant and Patriot Prayer leader Joey GIBSON. As you may recall, Patriot Prayer has been involved in several protests in Portland, including some that turned violent. Here are a few examples of the text messages. In one of them, Portland Police Lieutenant Jeff Naya appears to give GIBSON tactical information during a rally in June of 2017, saying now's a great time to break down the rally and be able to leave. We have a large group of Antifa trying to flank us and you. We are stopping them for now, but not sure how long. The next day, Lieutenant Naya thanks GIBSON in this text, saying, "Joey, I'm sure your phone is blowing up, but I wanted to say thank you for cooperating with me through this. I appreciate it." And then Joey GIBSON replies, "My pleasure. Thanks for everything you guys do." So let's get straight to Fox 12's Haley Rush. She joins us now from the mobile newsroom with the very latest. Haley.
Good evening, Liz. Well, I spoke with Brian Martinek tonight. Now, his resume includes everything from chief of police in Vancouver to former Portland Police Bureau assistant chief. He says the texts don't bother him at all. He's not concerned and even calls it good policing. We've all seen the protests, some even violent. The main players, Patriot Prayer, Antifa, and Portland Police. But this time, what's being criticized is something happening behind closed doors.
For me, this is about trust in our police. And for a long time, people in our community have feared that the police have a bias one way or the other.
Mayor Ted Wheeler is talking about these friendly text messages between Patriot Prayer leader Joey GIBSON and commander of Portland Police's Rapid Response Team, Lieutenant Jeff Naya.
I think what the tests show is just how comfortable Portland police are with white supremacists as compared to other protesters.
But a former assistant police chief for the Portland Police Bureau sees the texts much differently.
I didn't see anything that wouldn't be normal for those kind of operations.
Martinek says he knows a little of Lieutenant Naya, but knows a lot about the Rapid Response Team.
It seems like typical practice for the Rapid Response Team, not only here in Portland, but across the United States, to develop relationships with rally and protest leaders on no matter what side they're on.
We specifically asked Martinek about a text conversation the mayor says concerns him. In it, Lieutenant Naya tells GIBSON to make sure another Patriot Prayer member takes care of a warrant he heard about before the next protest.
He is specific in regard to a text message about someone that might have had a warrant, of being very clear that he didn't have any personal knowledge of it and that he hadn't actually run the person in the law enforcement data system, which would have been a conflicting circumstance had he done something different than that.
The former assistant police chief says it's especially common in situations like large rallies.
I can imagine that the reason for it was to make sure that they didn't have to take action, that other police officers didn't arrive and then have direct and imminent knowledge that he had an active warrant, and then now you are having to make an arrest, and it's in the middle of a larger and more dangerous situation.
As for any favoring towards one group, Martinek says from his experience that doesn't happen.
I would suspect that there are people assigned to each of the different groups. Well, I know there are, and that they've reached out.
In the end, he says forming relationships with people like GIBSON is good policing and ultimately helps keep people safe. Now, an investigation has been opened looking into these text messages. The lieutenant has also been told not to contact any event organizers for the time being. If you would like to hear more from the mayor and the commissioner, Joanne Hardesty, we actually interviewed them earlier today. You can see their side at kptv.com. Reporting live from the mobile newsroom, Haley Rush, Fox 12 Oregon.
Thanks, Haley. And last night we also reached out to Joey GIBSON for his side of the story. He tells us he's not embarrassed or concerned about the messages.
It's really disappointing because if it wasn't for this communication, I think that there could have been a lot more conflict. There were multiple times where they were asking me to please leave Portland because I had been there for a while and they're having a hard time keeping everything under control. And so a lot of times when they work with me and they ask me nicely, a lot of times I'll do it.
And as Haley mentioned, if you would like to read all of those text messages and emails involved in this report, head to kptv.com.